other element of Holistic Life Counsel is absolute brain and mind conditioning, which in essence is about giving your mind, or clearing the slate of your mind and creating or building a brand new foundation in your brain, creating new neurons, creating new nerve paths, creating an abundance of neurotransmitters that you may have not released for years. You know, the neurotransmitters that are released out of your brain when you feel a certain way. We want to start having more serotonin released into the bloodstream, more dopamine into the bloodstream, because you know you want some excitement in your life. You want new ideas to be introduced. Dopamine, endorphins. I mean, these are all feel-good hormones. For women, more oxytocin. You know, the feel-good hormones. These are the hormones that are being suppressed, and many times by way of what's called reuptake inhibitors. Again, these are the psych meds that suppress natural brain activity. And when we suppress natural brain activity, we have chaos. And then your standard anxiety turns into chronic anxiety, or your standard depression, because you may have been sad for a certain prolonged period of time, turns into chronic depression, chronic anxiety, chronic depression, all these different labels or disorders, or people being labeled as having multiple disorders in many cases. No one has to be labeled for a lifetime, because a lot of times many people, because they're so susceptible and wide open, they'll be more susceptible to fall into, again, the therapy trap, or the standard therapy trap of synthetics, and not necessarily acknowledging how a new behavior pattern can be created by you. Absolute brain and mind conditioning goes into conditioning the mind to act in a very specific way, by way of you creating new neurology in your brain and conditioning it from day one. Just like you condition your body physically. When you do exercise, you're conditioning your body by repeating certain movements over and over and over and over again, until your muscles realize that we need to grow so we can take on this type of consistent resistance. We need to grow so we can withstand this new level of resistance. In the case of the brain, we have conditioning statements. These are not random affirmations that you may read in a Wayne Dyer book, or a Brene Brown book, or something from Marianne Williamson, or even Les Brown. And I love listening to Les Brown. But these are very specific conditioning statements, not random affirmations. They're specific conditioning statements. So your brain neurology will operate in a very specific way, so you can render greater results in life. Greater opportunities will come your way by default over time, because you've changed your brain patterns. You've changed the way you think. and change the way you feel about you. And you're releasing all that heavy negative baggage. You're releasing it into the atmosphere. Because by default, by consistently training your brain to adhere to specific commands, because these are statements that you are commanding for your brain to operate. You know, your wish is your command. Your wish. Your wish is your command. Not the old saying with the genie in Aladdin saying, oh, your wish is my command. No, your wish is your command. And your genie lamp is called your brain. And you can turn it into anything you want. I mean, if your brain can operate to create destructive behavior patterns, you can create that same brain to create positive behavior patterns or success patterns. Whatever it is to render you perpetual happiness. Because at the end of the day, that's the end result we all want. We all just want to be happy. We want perpetual happiness every single day. Happiness. Happiness, joy, bliss, whatever terminology you want to use. That's what most of us want. So to develop that, everything is a development. You have to create a foundation. Just like when you build a house or a home cannot be built unless you lay a strong foundation first. I mean, if you're going to build a skyscraper, you can only build as high up as your foundation is deep. And the deeper you lay that foundation, the more solid you will become as a person. You'll develop further knowingness. You'll develop further self-awareness, a higher level of self-awareness. And by default, you'll be developing a higher state of consciousness because you will have repeated certain statements over and over and over again. And your brain doesn't know the difference between right or wrong. It takes everything you do and say at face value and accepts it. and accepts it. I mean, so conditioning statements, these are conditioning statements that will be planted or imprinted or impressed upon your neurology. And the more you repeat these statements and the more you have self-awareness about the direction your life is going, the more you ingrain these words, the bigger nerve paths that are going to grow in your brain, or the deeper nerve grooves that are going to be carved into your brain, for more like-minded energies to flow through and create more positive brain chemistry. Because every thought that you think, it emits a frequency and it creates a chemistry, a liquid chemistry. Everything that's translated in your brain from the invisible thought to the visible thought. All thoughts that are around you in your thought field are magnified or magnetized, if you will, are grabbed by your brain and translated by your brain. All thoughts are translated in your brain and turned into a liquid chemistry. So all of your cells know exactly what it is you are thinking, and they will know exactly how to function and operate. I mean, every single cell in your body, all 80 trillion? Nearly all people have nearly 100 trillion cells, and that includes brain cells that function individually for us. For us. And the more and the deeper you create these nerve paths, or what we call neural pathways, and on top of that, not only with the conditioning statements, but certain books that you can read that parallel with holistic psychology and the teachings of it. And also, with every session, it will think of every session as being like a weekly workshop. A weekly workshop or a weekly class where you go to learn something new. Because with every session, there'll be some assignments, and it'll be almost like teacher and student, giving you certain worksheets to work with during our session, just so you can have self-assessment in the moment. Not having you do homework, but we're going to do the work while we're in session. Not giving you assignments to do when we're not in session. You're going to have enough of that to do. But in session, it's going to be like being in class or a workshop. So you can further increase your brain knowledge and further increase yourself. Further increase the knowledge of yourself. Further increase your knowingness. Further increase your level of consciousness, which over time will increase your happiness level. Again, at the end of the day, that's what all of this is about. For you to be happy at the end of the day, because when you're happy, everybody else in your sphere of influence will be happy around you. And for those that choose to not be happy with you, they will repel by default. And you'll have those in your life that are vibing the same as you. For talk therapy or absolute brain and mind conditioning, for various emotional challenges or life challenges, choose Kennetic-Fit and Wellness. Mental attitude first.